Hello Nitro fans, racing at 393. I'm back on the Traxxas Fortec 2-speed Nitro. I've not had much luck. When you try to make things better, improve, and you know, upgrade or you know that kind of thing, for the most part it does work, but you do need to be mindful for what you buy. If you watched the previous videos of this, I purchased a set of shock absorbers from eBay that said Traxxas on it. They looked good. They weren't for Traxxas. I don't know. Maybe they were for. They might have been for like I want to say like the GT car. Was it a GT40 or something? So I'm guessing it's very much the shock sort of almost lay down because it was an on-road car model, and this chassis is designed for, well, probably I wouldn't say completely off-road, but certainly more off-terrain than complete flat tarmac or a track with jumps and things. So on this particular kit, Traxxas Fortec, it has a bit of leeway. On the standard stock shocks, it has a standard amount of suspension movement, which were okay. To be fair, the ones I had nevertheless were okay, and I've still got them right here, you know. So this might give you a little clue what we're going to do today. I changed the shock absorbers and put like shock extensions on, which weren't for the Fortec, they're for something else. They probably would work, but they're not working good enough. So you can see the car here, and you can see that the suspension here, this is pretty much where it would sit. The fronts are not too bad, in fairness, and the backs always were a bit stiff. Although the ride height initially on the original shocks was good, I felt maybe I could get the car a little bit stiffer. But with that in mind, I wanted it to be lower to the, I wanted the wheels to be up inside the sort of, well, not inside, but it's normal seated standard position, sort of like that. So we've got some movement there, but I wanted it to, it was always I say stiffer. I was hoping to angle the shocks differently so that the stiffer spring would be softer. And that hasn't worked, basically. It's cut right to where we're at. So today's video, I am going to try and leave the GoPro running and just edit out the stuff I don't want, to hopefully show you what I'm going to do. Basically, put the original shocks back on with some modification. We'll have to see about that. What else? That's about it, really. Instantly, just sort of off topic a little bit. You can't see it here. I'm not going to turn the camera because it's in a sort of good position. But one of the sheds is now completed. Not mine. We're still waiting for a big long story here. I'm not going to bore you, but it's not straightforward with my one. But, yeah, so I'm not sure when that's going to be done. The base is all done. It's all painted. The other shed's up. I've got an empty space now. I've got a load of wood in the garden. We'll leave it there. Right, let's just get this body shell off. So what we ended up with, we've got the front shocks on there. I mean, I think they look really good. That's the annoying thing is, I quite like the front, but I think it's just sitting too low. The back, it's just sitting too high. And it's got on the back, I did end up putting the original springs back on. Yeah, this is going to be one of those, put it back to what it was at. I should have left it like that in the first place. It's a bit frustrating, if I'm honest. But I think first thing is I'm going to take the rear shocks. I'm going to take off. I might be able to fit them on something else. It's a real shame. I like the way the front is. The way the front looks is quite neat. But anyway, the whole purpose of this video is to put things right. So I'm going to take the rear shocks off. So that's the shocks taken off with the original springs back on there. I'm just going to remove the sort of the extensions that I put on here now, and then we'll end up with a standard sort of setup at the rear nevertheless. I think off the back now, it's all back to standard. I mean, it's where it's currently sat, I think. I've got a feeling one might be lower than the other anyway, but yeah, it looks like, I don't know, maybe it's just where I'm sat here, but it does look like that wheel's slightly lower than that one. I can't see on the camera, but in an ideal world, these want to sit for what I need it for, kind of just under level with it sat. So you don't need that much movement, but you want it so that when it's sat, it's there. So when it comes up, it goes down a bit, and it's still got some movement up there. The trick is finding the right setting for the shocks. I've got all the original stuffs in here anyway. I've got some medium like oil which I was going to put in. I can't remember what was in there now. There's a crap load of like hardware that came with the shocks, the other shocks anyway. And these springs, they're the ones that came with the shocks I bought, so they're much shorter. And these are the ones that I had on the back anyway. They feel quite stiff. Now these are Tamiya on-road springs. I think they're medium, the yellow, I can't remember now. But I'm not sure. Maybe I can get it so it's sitting lower, but with those springs on there, because they would fit. Those springs would fit the original shocks. So I think that's what I might try and do. The other problem is the platform size. The spring cups at the bottom are a different size. These are the ones that came with the aluminium shocks, and of course they're going to fit that perfectly. I'm hoping that could fit like the shock. Anyway, let me sort this out, because it's not exactly going to be film worthy footage. I'm going to come back with a shock setup, hopefully with these on, and we're going to see how that looks. The front shocks will need changing because they've got the spacers on, which I used on the rear. Sort the springs out. I'll come back with one of the shocks rebuilt and my findings. So after a bit of to-ing and fro-ing, I've put the old shocks back on, but with the new springs. They're a bit stiffer. They're probably a bit too stiff, but it's not going to ground out, and it seems to be the right ride height now. They are relatively stiff, They already had the medium oil put into the standard shocks, and these are the ones I'm going to put on the front. I'll probably put those back on, and it feels fine. I mean, they're not, there's a very small amount of leakage in there, but they are really old, aren't they? So yeah, I think they'll be fine. We're going to put these on the front, but use the springs and the spring seats off of these shock absorbers and put them back on. I'll take the you know, I put these on, didn't I? These, do you remember these? What are they called? Forgetting now. Words. Shock extensions, standoff extensions, whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna. It sits okay. It's a little bit stiff on the front, the back, and the front's a bit low. When the problem is with this is, although that's a nice angle, the car does sit a bit too low, if I'm honest. So. Anyway, take these off, put these on with those springs and those spring seats, put it all back together. I've now got shocks that I'm not going to need on this car anyway, but I'm pretty sure they'll come in handy elsewhere. Yeah, left my glasses upstairs, can't see anything. Anyway, done. Done as far as what I'm prepared to do. So old shocks back on, stiffer springs put on. Had to put some spacers in here because the springs are quite short throw, so it makes, there's no adjustment on these shocks other than the shock spacers. It is stiffer, but it does sit level now, which is good. And they're the back ones, so pretty much, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's 2.5 one dozen the other, really. I've bought something which doesn't really fit, which, you know, that's the chance you take. I mean, that's what I got then, but I think there's some sort of Chinese knockoff, if I'm honest. I'm pretty sure that's logos for something else. You know what it's like, you buy something and you have to fit it. And to go back to what you originally had on there is a bit of a, what was the point of spending 40 quid on them? But I mean, these are nice shocks. I mean, but they're short. So I think they should be kind of, these are the ones that need to be like really, really canted over in a car, almost Formula One style, I think. Because that way they'll get the leverage on them, but they're not designed to go upright. And my thought process was, buy some shocks which are nicer, that fit straight on. I mean, there's probably loads of other shocks that would go straight on and much better that everyone knows about that I don't, but it doesn't matter. I've got, you know, I've done what I could. The level now, the ride height is exactly, you know, it's as good as, but it is super stiff. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get the body shell on and then just show you, I'll probably be here actually, what it looks. I'm tidy up, I've got stuff everywhere at the moment. So let me just put the shell on and then yeah, I'll just show you the end result. So there you have it. It's back together. It is a bit stiffer. It bounces actually on the back now, which it didn't do before, but the front's okay. The back is a bit stiff, but I'm pretty sure it'll be okay. I mean, it did tend to bounce when it was, anyway, even with the standard shocks, they weren't brilliant, and the springs were reasonably soft. Thicker oil tends to sort of dampen the dampers, doesn't it? The spring can't overcome the oil, so it dampens. I've got a feeling that if anything, these springs are a little bit too stiff. But anyway, that's it. So all this titty fatting around, it transpires you can't put shocks on there. I've got an engine which I've rebuilt and done, and that's pretty load of old shit. And you're better off to keep it as stock anyway. Rather than messing around, doing stuff, making videos, it's all for what? For the enjoyment of Nitro RC, I hear you say. Right, so for now, that is the end of this video. The next bit, we'll be getting out for a run. It's been a really odd year here. I've not done much running at all of RC cars. But we'll have to get this one out, get it started, try it on this particular setup. It's really more the can we make this go quicker video series, and all I've done so far is messed around putting stuff on, took it off and put it back on again. So we'll get this out for a running video. That will be the next video. Charge everything up, get it out there, get it started, put the speed meter on there and see what we can get. Get the other motor put on there. That's going to be a mission. Start it up, hopefully. Get it out there, try it again. You know the score. You either won't do it, it'll be exactly the same. 4 series, 4 videos. And for what? No. For the enjoyment, I should say, I do this for my own enjoyment. You know, I sometimes get sucked into YouTube in the way it is, but I have kept myself away from that. I just do it because I like documenting what I do and just showing people that, you know, RC is a good fun hobby. So anyway, that's it. That's the end of this video. That's a sort of rectification video. I hope you enjoyed it. Give me your thoughts. If you would please, if you can consider subscribing and put your notifications on for when I do more videos. They don't come as often as I would like them to, but you know, I'm hoping that you enjoy the ones that I do anyway. So without further ado, thanks for watching. I don't know if you can see my name, but I appreciate that, and I shall see you soon. Bye for now.